All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to the afternoon experiment. My name is Emanuel Livingston. I'm with you until probably about 5 o'clock this afternoon. 513-717-5464. 513-717-5464. That's the number to get on board. I feel like there's something going on with my screen here. Hold on, let me see if I do that. Takes me there. It feels like there's something going on with my screen. But whatever it is, I don't know. I'm here. And welcome. Welcome to the show. Not a whole lot. Of course, all the conversation really around the country is kind of about guns and gun violence and gun laws and this shooting that happened in Nashville at this little private school where children and adults were killed. And I mean, it's still out there. It's still shocking. It's still shocking. Let me say good afternoon to everyone. Pardon my tardiness. But I was on the line with my agent. Like, not my agent, like I have a talent agent, but I had to order some things. So what my sales rep, sales agent, whatever you call them, ordering some stuff. And oh my goodness, this stuff is a little more complicated. Like, you can't just say, I want red. You want Rubine red, you want Scarlet red, you want Dallas red. I'm like, I didn't even know there was a such thing as Dallas red. I just want red. Well, if you look up the PMS code, just a general red. I don't have a particular Pantone color that I want, just a red. But I finally got that taken care of. Pamela, good afternoon. Checking in from North Avondale. All right. Regina, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Regina. Myosha, good afternoon. Also checking in from North Avondale. She doesn't want to say it because she don't want to be portrayed as being rich. But good afternoon. Anthony, good afternoon. He's checking in from the west side. We have Quintano. He's checking in. I don't remember where he's checking in from. Nat checking in from Madisonville in the house. Jeannie, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Jeannie. And I'm Jeannie, I apologize. I'm sorry I doubted you today. I doubted you. I asked the question, was that shooter a female? Because, yesterday I read that it was a female. That was the report. It was a female shooter. And then I was watching the news and they're like, it's a trans person. It's a female who identifies as trans. And I'm like, what does that mean? Does that mean they were born female and they identify as male? Or does that mean that they were born male, but so since they're trans, they identify? What does that mean? Y'all confusing me. Of course, somebody asked today when I had asked Lincoln Ware that question, somebody said, well, what the hell difference does it make? 3 kids is dead and 3 adults are dead. What difference does it make? And I guess I understand that question, but I say, if that's the case, then what difference does it make? Why give us a description? Why tell us if it's a male or a female? Why tell us if they're young or old? Why tell us if they're black or white or Asian or anything like that? Why tell us their height? Why tell us anything? If nothing matters. My question matters to the same extent that the description matters. So if you say, it doesn't matter if they're trans or if they're gay or if they're straight, okay, then it don't matter the description. Just tell us there was a shooting, the shooter's dead. That's it. You can maybe tell us who was the victims, but don't give us no information about the shooter. But of course, we would all be like, Well, what about the shooter? What about the shooter? So, yeah, it matters. It matters. Again, one of my theories is, it's kind of a messed up theory, but it's just a theory that I'm working on. It's a theory that I'm working on. When I heard trans, one of the reasons I was wondering is because we had the conversation yesterday where this isn't a normal thing that we hear of women doing. This isn't a normal thing that we hear of women doing. We don't hear of women going into schools, shooting the place up or down. I don't know what to do. He shot it up. What does that mean? Shot it up. But I'm like, okay. But if this woman identified as a man, maybe she or he, they were trying to take on the male role in society. And again, this isn't something that we normally hear women do. But if this person identified not as a woman, but identified as a male, well, then that, was, I don't know. I haven't figured it all out yet. But there is something to the idea, at least potentially, that this was a trans person. Someone trying to identify as a male and maybe taking on some of the worst characteristics of some of the males in our society. That sounds kind of silly though, but not really, or at least to me, not really. It sounds almost reasonable, but I don't know. Did any of y'all watch any of the video of the incident? They released some video. Now they released video, like surveillance video within the school. And for people who were like, oh, she got in through a locked door. If they locked all the doors, then this would happen. Based on what I saw, she just shot through the door. Or she just shot through the door. Based on what I saw, just bang, glass, psh, bang, psh, and came in through the door. So that wouldn't have made a difference. And I have a feeling that this person, it didn't matter how much security was there. There would have just been some dead security people there. Because this person had made up their mind that this is what they were going to do. They had planned it. They had, according to reports, planned it out, wrote out a detailed plan. Wrote out a detailed plan. Do you really think some extra security at the school would have stopped that? A police officer? That police officer would have they would have been caught off guard. Because, police officers are police officers, and you're like, oh, no, that's a police officer. They're on duty. They're at the ready. Like, no. Look, I've been to schools with police officers there somewhat recently. Police officers are doing a lot in these schools. They're not just standing at the door. Don't come in. Don't come in. Show some ID. That's not how they're doing it at the school. So this person would have came in, blasted her way in, which is what she did, blasted her way in, and then killed a law enforcement official. So what if you had two of them there, Emanuel? I'm saying all of this to say, the answer ain't as simple as people keep making it. Just ban assault weapons. Somebody who takes the time to write out a plan, map it out as well as they're saying that she mapped it out. Now, of course, I haven't saw the plan. I don't know how well it was planned and all that kind of stuff. But someone who takes the time to map out a whole plan, you think buying an illegal assault style weapon is going to stand in their way? Now, granted, they said she bought like 7 assault style weapons legally. She bought like 7 assault style weapons legally. So you think not having an assault style weapon or not being able to legally go buy one was going to stand in her way? Because from what I'm understanding from listening to the experts, you can get an illegal assault style weapon. Like, a part of me want to go out and buy one just to see how easy it is. But I ain't trying to go to jail. But in my mind, it won't be that hard for me to get out here and get my hands on an assault weapon without anybody knowing that I got it. And in my mind, it would be just that easy if you ban them. Because again, like people keep saying, really like a lot of Republicans keep saying, and I agree with them on certain points. I don't agree with how they get there or their reason for pushing certain issues. Like, I'm not pushing it out of hate. I'm not there out of prejudice and, discriminatory. No. I'm just there from a reasonable standpoint. The only people that really worry about the law are people who intend on following the law. They're the only people that worry about the law. Think about it in terms of something as simple as what we call jaywalking. Littering. Somebody can be standing, I've seen this, standing literally right next to a garbage can. But they don't care about the law. They just throw their stuff on the ground. Whereas somebody else would be like, okay, I got this garbage. Let me put it in a bag, put it in my car. I'll wait till I get home to throw it away. Or if need be, I'll pull over at a garbage can and throw it away. People who don't care about the law ain't worried about the law. The crosswalk is right there. I could take 5 steps, get to the crosswalk, wait on the light, and cross the street. They don't care about that. They just walk real slow across the street and look at you like, and you sitting there like, go. And they like, hit me. I dare you. You know what I'm saying? The people who don't care about the law don't care about the law. So those are not those people. I don't want, because some of y'all be like, so what you saying, Emanuel? If you a jaywalk, then you'll shoot up a school? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying people who might do something violent along those lines, they probably don't care about the law. I mean, they plan on killing people. And as, of course, somebody pointed out, she apparently, text somebody and told them, I'm about to die. This is the last time I'm going to get a chance to talk to you because I'm about to do some stuff and I'm about to die. You're going to hear about it on the news. You think she was worried about getting caught not following the law? You think she would have been worried if there was an assault weapons ban? She would have been like, well, I can't go shoot up the school because it's against the law for me to go get a assault style weapon, and I don't want to break the law while I'm murdering people and getting killed, because that was her plan. No. So an assault weapons ban ain't gonna stop this person. We're shown having locked doors ain't gonna stop this person. I'm not convinced that having a cop there would necessarily have stopped this person, because this person went in with the idea, I'm about to die. So if it's a cop there, I just kill the cop, and then I just keep going and doing what I'm gonna do until some other cops show up and then they kill me. So the answer is not as simple. And look, I'm not saying don't take some common sense measures. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying when people float that like, that'll stop all of this killing. No, it won't. No, it won't. It might slow it down a little bit. It might make somebody think twice. But again, somebody who fully intends on, plans it out, writes it down, writes a manifesto, they say. I saw a report that said there's a manifesto. Who writes a manifesto? Who writes a manifesto? Writes a manifesto, writes out sketches of the school, knowing exactly where they gonna go and exactly who they gonna. That person ain't gonna stop and say, ooh, it's an assault weapons ban. I'm sorry, I can't purchase one of those because I don't want to break the law while I'm murdering people. I don't know the answer. I really don't. I promise y'all, I don't know the answer. I'm not here pretending to know the answer. I'm just here to tell y'all. And again, common sense gun reform sounds great. Just stop trying to pass it off like, yeah, this is the solution. It's not the solution. Well, this person had a mental problem. I don't really go in, buy into all of that. Everybody who commits a crime has a mental problem. In my mind, most of us have a mental problem, some issue mentally that we can't overcome. I got a mental problem. I can't stop eating sweets. I got a whole box full of Twinkies upstairs. You know what I'm saying? I got a mental problem. It's slightly less serious to the rest of society because my mental problem doesn't make me go out and murder people, thank God. But we all got a mental problem. We all have a mental problem. So I can't just buy, somebody who does something like that, they have to have a mental problem. No, they just decided to do something like that. I don't know that there is a mental diagnosis for that. Some people just do bad stuff. It's not always a mental problem. It's not always a mental problem. It's just, I'm going to use the term evil, even though the way people define it, I don't know, the devil made it do. I'm not saying all of that. But killing people and kids in particular, blameless, faultless, them kids ain't do nothing to her. I don't even know her. I don't know her. Them kids ain't do nothing to her. And even if they did, they didn't deserve to be murdered. So, to me, that's evil. It might not be, biblically evil, spiritually evil, but somebody just made a decision that this was what they were going to do. I'm sure in her mind, there was some reason. I'm sure it's in the manifesto. But she just decided she was going to go kill some people. In her mind, it was the thing to do. And there's no answer to that. No solution. No, pardon the magic bullet, that's going to make it stop. I heard somewhere that we've had more, mass shootings this year than days in the year. I know I was just watching one of the networks, and I don't remember which one it was, but they put up a graphic, and the graphic said there have been, 61 school shootings this year. School shootings in situations where people have gone into schools with guns and shot people, and at least one person has been wounded in an intentional school shooting. 61 of them have happened this year. That's what I said. Can you slow some of that down? But when you think about this realistically, I try to think about stuff realistically. Okay, sure. Let me throw you this. If we got rid of all guns, we would probably get rid of all gun violence. Because people like to say, well, we just need to get rid of the guns. Okay, I'm going to give you that. If we get rid of all guns, we'll probably get rid of gun violence. Realistically speaking, we all know we ain't getting rid of all guns. It ain't going to happen. Well, if we just get rid of assault weapons, we all know realistically, we're not getting rid of assault weapons. We're not. But we can limit people's access. And we all know, take away those two, I'm doing it like this because in my mind they were over both shoulders. Take away those two, AR-15s I think they said they were, assault style weapons. And she could have had 3 9mm. You can kill 6 people with 3 9mm guns, pistols. Are guns access to weapons of war? Are they part of the problem? Sure. But stop acting like they're the solution. Get rid of them. That's the solution. It's not. 61, according to this graphic that I saw, which I didn't independently verify. Excuse me. I didn't independently verify this. So I'm taking it right now at face value that is probably somewhere near true. Angela says it was 128 mass shootings a day or two ago. See, man, if all those 128 people didn't have guns, sure, realistically, you're not getting rid of people's guns. So we got to figure out something else. I mean, both and. Common sense gun reform, and how do we deal with all of the guns that's already out there? And the people who have them. And what are we doing as a society here in America? What are we doing as a society that makes people think that this is a viable option? What's going on? Hold on, if all these gun proponents need to just stop it with the argumentative for why assault rifles should not be banned. If kids being killed doesn't change your mind, then you're a sicko. Yeah, I said it, sicko. But what do you believe that that's gonna do? That's my question to you. Daryl, realistically speaking, let's say everybody come together because everybody is all beat up over Nashville. And today, they do some emergency proposal at the House of Representatives and they ban assault style weapons, outright ban. And then later today, they send it over to the Senate and the Senate vote for it. And then later tonight, they send it to Joe Biden and he sign it. And then they have an emergency session at the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court says it's constitutional. All today by midnight. In your mind, what does that do for tomorrow? In your mind, does that mean now no one can get an assault weapon? No one will have them, thus no one will shoot anyone? Realistically, even though the whole notion is not realistic, because none of that is going to happen. But just realistically speaking, how many mass stabbings have you heard of? A few. Overseas and here. A few mass stabbings. Yes. I can't call them because I can't call all of the mass shootings either. But yes, I've read stories about mass stabbings here in the United States and overseas. I couldn't tell you the number to precisely answer your question. But yes, I've heard of mass stabbings. Just look it up, mass stabbing. Google it. Oh, maybe I can Google it. Let's see. Let me go to Google. Because I don't say Google it unless I'm actually going to Google and searching it on their engine. Otherwise, I just say, look it up on the internet. But I said Google it. So I'm going to Google. I'm not exactly sure. This is giving me a list of mass stabbings in the U.S. Axeman of New Orleans, Broken Arrow killings, Franklin Regional High School stabbings, Gage Park murders, Maxim Jailman stabbing spree, the 2014 Isla Vista killings, 2020 Knox County stabbings, 2022 Las Vegas strip stabbings. There's a few of them, Nat. There's a few of them. And that's just in the U.S. Nat says, a few compared to hundreds of mass shootings. Well, yeah, because the guns are available. But these same people, if people want to kill people, it's kind of hard to stop people from killing people if that's what they want to do. And again, the reality of the situation is even if they ban them today, you're not getting them out of people's hands who have them. You're not getting them out of people's hands who have them. They're not going around door to door doing a weapons check saying, give me all your AR-15s and any similar style weapons. That's not happening. That's just the truth. So I don't think that's the answer, even though, again, I'm for common sense gun reform. I don't mind background checks. I don't mind, kind of, oh, you can't have these automatic weapons and all that kind of stuff. I don't mind that. Oh, wait a minute. I see kind of a long one. Let me see if I can read. Janice. Yesterday, we discussed new norms becoming normal, making it easier for people to justify doing something that was once deemed abnormal or offensive. People now believe they can be anything they want to be if they feel it's true in their minds. All right, I got to pull that off the screen so I can see the rest of it. Also justifying anything else they choose to do. Factor this in with Trump spewing hate and hate speech, making verbal and physical violence the norm. This is where we are today. Agreed. And that's why I said, as a society, we got to look at what it is that we're doing as a society that's creating a situation where people feel like, I don't want to say this is okay. If you go in saying, oh, I'm about to die, you don't think that this is okay. You know this is bad and I'm going to probably be killed because of it. But what are we doing as a society to push people? I'm not sure that we're pushing people to, I was going to say encourage. What are we doing as a society that's making people feel like this is a resort that they have to resort to, or making them feel like, or allowing them to feel like this is something, I don't even want to say, we're not saying it's okay to do, but that they feel comfortable enough doing, that they feel pushed or whatever to do. What are we doing? I really do believe it's a societal issue. It's not necessarily just a gun issue. And I agree with Janice. There are people who are stoking fear and hatred and making violence a viable option for people. I saw a shirt today that I was gonna, I'll probably print me one once I finish with Jason's shirts. I'll probably print me one. And it said, oh, now I can't even remember exactly what it said. Make lying wrong again. It was, of course, a play on Make America Great Again. It said, make lying wrong again. And of course, then you can just carry that further. Make encouraging violence wrong again. Because we're in a society where we're okay with violence. In theory. And then when we actually see the violence, we're like, oh, that's horrible. The ink should be in tomorrow. They tell me it will be delivered tomorrow. If that ink gets delivered tomorrow, why am I saying ink that hard? If the ink gets delivered tomorrow, you'll have your shirts. What's tomorrow? Wednesday? Oh, I got choir rehearsal Wednesday. So you'll have your shirts probably Friday. If it gets delivered tomorrow, you will have your shirts on Friday. And they're telling me it'll be delivered tomorrow. Don't give me such a hard time. Where was I at before y'all distracted me? But yeah, no, we encourage violence. We talk about violence like it's okay. But then when we see violence, we say, oh, what can we do to stop violence? I might be guilty of that a little bit myself. Maybe. But when you have, former president of the United States threatening death and destruction on people, encouraging people to, go take this back and go take that back and fight for this and fight for that. And it's not the same connotation as when we say, hey, fight for your rights. When we talk about fighting for your rights, we're not talking about going out there being violent towards people to attain your rights. Some people are, but most of us aren't. I'm sorry, I gotta, because he been on hold for such a long time for these shirts. I am, but I wanted to do your shirts a little better. And I'm a water-based printer, but I think people prefer plastisol. You might not understand what the difference is, but when you get the shirts, there will be a difference, and you'll be like, I like this better, because it's plastisol, and I was not a plastisol printer, so I had to order the appropriate ink. I actually did one in water-based, and I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. So I got you. I'm trying to do the best for you. I like water-based. I like the soft feel of it. It's a little muted, understated, look like it's all part of the shirt. But I got you. All right, now back to what I was saying. I'm so easily distracted. I don't have a mental problem, though. But yeah, we have a society where we encourage violence. Violence is okay. Violence is good. Yeah, look at our TV. Look at our movies. Look at all of the stuff that we watch that entertain us. And then you mix that with our leaders telling us to go be violent. Go be violent towards each other. Stand up for what you want in a violent way. Take back what you want in a violent way. All of this, what they call political correctness, is just simple manners and politeness. You know what I'm saying? It's manners and politeness. I'm not all down with, I'm getting a little off base, but follow me. I'm not all down with trans and all of that kind of stuff. And all this political correctness. Yeah, I get it. It's irritating because I wanted to know, was it a man or a woman? I know now. It's been made clear. So I can still refer to, well, maybe I'm doing it wrong. Him. Either way, I'm not going to be all bent out of shape and go on a violent rampage because I want to say him instead of her or her instead of him. I don't agree with the drag queens reading to the kids. I'm not going to go on no rampage and shoot up some drag queen show. And that's where we are in society now. That's where we are in society now. If you fed up with something, look at how they handle stuff in the movies. Look at how the president is telling people to handle stuff. Look at how, or the former president, look at how our leaders are telling people to handle stuff. Look at all of the things that are going on. Like, how could somebody go into a school and shoot up a whole lot of kids? Well, we got a violent society. And it's not just cartoon violence anymore. You know, when I say cartoon violence, I don't mean just cartoons. I mean, you know, Rambo. That's cartoon violence to me. Stuff like that, Terminator, they just walking around with guns, John Wick. You know what I'm saying? That's cartoon violence to me. Now, look, I agree, seeing it desensitizes people to the idea of it, but not to the point that, you know how many people I've seen John Wick and didn't go and try to become assassin. So I'm not suggesting that makes people do it, because I know some of y'all, he said if you seen John Wick, then you would go shoot up a school. No, I didn't say that. That's what I heard. Well, you heard wrong. But it does kind of desensitize us to violence, to seeing people shot in the head 3 and 4 times. It does. All right, hold on. It can. It can. And then you're like, well, but how can we, if we just ban this? So, but you got all these other people encouraging violence all over the place. Hey man, what's the most dangerous weapon? The knife, the tongue, the gun? I don't consider the tongue a weapon. I mean, I kind of get what you were trying to say there. It all depends. Which is most, the knife or the gun? It all depends. So I don't know. The situations differ. But I would say overall, I would say probably a gun has the capacity to inflict more violence faster on more people. Potentially, depending on the situation. It is a society issue. Countries with the same gun laws don't have the gun problems we have. The United States of America is a war-loving country. Yeah, it is. Sean want to know what shirt? No shirt. Don't even. You didn't hear anything about any shirts. These are not the droids you're looking for. What about the kid getting searched who was able to pop off and injure 2 teachers? That's what someone was asking Daryl. What kind of shirt? I'm just checking in. No shirt. No shirt. Let me see. Ray Walk. What up, E-Man and everyone checking in today from Hamilton? Hey, what's up? Thank you for checking in. Trump used his words as a weapon. It got them to attack our capital. And Tony says the tongue is the most dangerous weapon on the planet. Yeah, I don't necessarily agree that the tongue is a weapon. But even though I understand the context in which you're using it, I just don't necessarily view it that way. Because I don't know that the tongue, Trump said what he said, but him saying it didn't kill anybody. Then people going up in the Capitol and doing stuff, actually, their actions resulted in somebody getting killed. I know you could say, well, his words resulted in their actions, but they had the free will whether or not to follow those. But I'm not discounting that people are influenced by influential people's words. They are. No doubt about it. Daryl said he is back. What was said to him? I don't know that anything was said specifically to you. 513-717-5464. I'm still sticking with counseling. Common sense gun reform, sure. And you could even do more security. Although I will say this. I would have a problem. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Yeah, I did see that. I would have a problem because I heard Governor DeWine, Mike. I heard Mikey boy, President Mike. I heard Mike talking about more security in schools, including private schools. And I'm not saying that private schools don't need more security. But if you're a private school, the public shouldn't be paying for the security at your school. You're a private school. Hire some security. Hire some private security or hire some public security at your own cost. But the public shouldn't be paying for private schools extra security. I don't like that. I don't like that idea. I'm against that. I don't want my tax dollars going to pay for a school that I couldn't go to. Well, you could if you paid for it. And then that some of that money that I paid, take that money, include that in the cost of tuition. Take that money and pay for some extra security. That's the way I feel about it. Public money, taxpayer dollars, should not go to pay for extra security for private schools. Now, sure, taxpayer dollars could go to pay for extra security for public schools, but not private. And it's not that I don't care about the kids that go to private schools, because I want them safe. But if you say, look, I need to segregate my kid from your kid, or I think this is a better education for my kid, or this is a better situation for my kid, and I'm willing to pay for it, for the exclusivity or the comfort or the convenience or the quality, cool, pay for the security as well. And I hope your kid is safe. I hope that private school that you're paying for, I hope you paying enough for them to pay for more security privately. Ray Walker has a question. He says, why is it so easy to get inside these schools? You can't just walk into elementary school in Hamilton. You ring the buzzer, show ID, so I don't get in. Or so I don't get it. Well, I think you had to watch the video. She just blasted her way in. She just blasted her way in. Gun, bam, glass shatters. Gun, bam, glass shatters. She blasted her way in. So unless you want to, take out all of the glass doors or put in bulletproof glass all around the schools and all of that kind of stuff. But no, she didn't just walk in and, open up the door and go in. But she might have been able to. I don't know if the door was locked or not. So she might have been able to do that. But, yeah, no, she blasted her way in. She blasted her way in. And, I mean, that's what people are like. Make it harder to get in. Somebody who's determined to get in and do something, they gonna find a way to get in. They gonna find a way. Elaine says, I agree with you. Use my tax money for public schools. Yeah. Ray says, oh, I didn't see the video, but I'm just in general, since this happened so many times. Yeah. Angela says, so there was no security? Well, for some people, the locked door is security. I mean, really, if you go to even a Cincinnati public school right now, or at least the last few times I've been, there's typically not somebody just sitting there in front of the door, the entrance. There's usually, the times that I've gone, there's the entrance doors. Yeah, you got a buzz, you get buzzed in. But then there's an office kind of off to the side or something like that, where then you have to go in through those doors, and that's where you go through the screening process. But then, once school has started, I would imagine at the beginning of the school day, there are metal detectors and all of that kind of stuff. But police, security officers, they don't just sit there and man the metal detectors all day. Like, oh, 10 o'clock. Nobody came through the metal detector. They don't do that. Once the school day has started, they go on about their business. And I would imagine in most schools, if you could just bust your way through those windows, you got free reign to the rest of the school before you run into a security official. They don't just post up at the entrances of the building. "200 students is rather small." And I mean, I saw the school. The school was a big sprawling, I don't know if it's a church with a school connected to it. It looked like a big sprawling campus. It looked like a big sprawling campus. So it looked like they would have to hire a whole lot of security to be like at every entrance all school day. But I know, like Tony's saying, it seems like lawmakers should have learned after Columbine mass shootings. And, you say, well, but security is important. But security is important. And how many of these we're going to have before they start posting somebody there all school day? Probably a whole lot more. That's not going to happen. I don't think that that's ever going to happen. Where you just, at all entrances of the school, there's going to be a armed security guard sitting there waiting to see if somebody try to get in. Because although we're like, there was 61 so far this year. And that's a lot. But that's not really a lot in relation to every day, every school all across the country. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot. But in terms of the number of days that the number of schools have been open and the number of them that have not had a school shooting, 61 ain't a whole lot. All right, Anthony, he wrote us a book. He's replying to something Daryl says. Daryl, you can spin it how you want. Don't know why me being pro Second Amendment would make you think I don't care. That's ridiculous. I'm not one of those cats that believe there should be no guidelines for firearm owners. I gotta find where I am. I have a problem with stricter red flag laws or long waiting periods for a comprehensive check, include all social media. What I also understand is that banning a certain rifle that looks a certain way ain't gonna stop this. What was Lincoln talking about? It's been more school shootings than days on the calendar. No, that's not what he said. It's not what he said. He said there have been more mass shootings. That means everywhere, nightclubs, laundromats, schools, churches, on the street. Just in general, more mass shootings, not more school shootings. Even though, if I take the information that I saw earlier, school shootings, 61, so far this year, is not a little bit. But it's just not enough for schools to be like, we need armed security at every door all day. I don't know. I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer. But I want people, if people are really gonna, every time that there's a school shooting, begin to wonder what's the answer. And if the only thing that people can come up with is ban assault style weapons, we in trouble. We in trouble. I think it's a whole societal issue. Whole societal issue. All right. So now that we've come to the conclusion that I don't have to answer, which we really came to that conclusion a long time ago. I only got a few more minutes. I believe Wyatt, even though I saw him on earlier today as well from The Office. Like, he go on from the house in Ohio, I think the house in Florida, the house in Illinois. I think he got a house in Texas. What he said, he got one in Arizona. He can go on from all of those houses, and he can go on from The Office. So I saw him on earlier from The Office. So, look, as you set your alerts for when Wyatt come on, so, you can check him out and see what he's talking about. I know some of y'all don't agree with a lot of stuff he say, but he be giving out some good information. He be giving out some good information. You don't have to agree with his stances on a lot of stuff, but numbers are numbers. Money is money. And I got to get ready to get out of here. But before I do that, y'all saw the story about the weather person in, where was that? Who said, for shizzle my nizzle, and got fired? Y'all saw that? And of course, I think the thinking behind that was, you can't, basically as a white person, say the N-word, even a playful version of the N-word, and nizzle it. Thank you, Mississippi. Yes, it was in Mississippi. And nizzle was like Snoop Dogg's way of saying the N-word without saying the N-word. And so she said it, and she got fired. Even though it wasn't her first time saying something, allegedly, reportedly, at some point earlier in her history, instead of referring to a black woman as a grandmother, she called her the grandmammy. That's not accidental. Like, if that's not how you say grandmother, and you see a black person and you like that grandmammy over there, that's intentional. That's intentional. But Charlemagne was on, I think on his radio show, but I'm not 100% sure. I saw a clip of it where he was defending this lady. And he was saying she shouldn't have been fired. She probably don't even know what nizzle mean. And look, even if she don't know what nizzle mean, which I'm gonna say she probably did. But even if she didn't, I was also watching the young Turks. And I don't remember their main guy. I don't remember his name. But I was watching him, and he was offended as well, and he was on Charlemagne's side. He was using Charlemagne's argument to argue that this woman shouldn't have been fired, which is one of the reasons why I have a problem when black people lend their credibility and argument to white people in that way. Because y'all know that white people are going to take that argument and say, look, that N-word said it, so he's right. He didn't actually say N-word, but you know what I'm saying. I always have a problem when people do that, even though I probably do it sometimes too. But let's say for a minute she didn't know. And their argument was, well, that's a chance for a conversation to be started in society and not necessarily a chance for punishment. And I'm like, hold on, Kyrie Irving, he just posted a link to a movie. And he was fine. He was dropped by Nike. He was suspended. He had to say vanilla is the best flavor of ice cream. Anything you could think of. That wasn't a teaching moment. That was a let's punish that N-word. That nizzle. Punish that nizzle. But when it's the white woman, maybe she didn't know. And the argument that was made was, but wait a minute. But nizzle is a word. That's a substitute word for that word so that we don't say that word. And it's a fun substitute word so that we don't have to say that word. And this was the Young Turks, and if we can't say a substitute word instead of saying the word, then we can't even say N-word. His co-host was like, huh? Because it sounded like he's saying he want to say the N-word. But he was saying, and I'm going to say the word because I'm black, and I can say what I want to say because I'm black. Here's what he was saying. Y'all don't want us to say nigger. So if we can't say that, and we can't say nizzle, which is a substitute word for nigger. So we can't say nizzle, then how can we say N-word? Because that's just another substitute word for nigger. That was the point he was making. So now what can we say to describe such a vile word? We can't say N-word, we can't say nizzle, and we can't say the actual N-word. I'm like, then why are you trying to say anything about it? But first, nobody told you couldn't say N-word. See, to me, that's them trying to come up with all kind of stuff because they really want to say the N-word. Even in progressive, they want to say the N-word. And they get mad when they get caught on the carpet about saying the N-word. But I'm listening to Charlemagne. And trust me, if somebody, black dude, militant, nizzle, at that news station, get up and say something about the Kizzles, or the K word, because you can't say the K word. You think they would be like, well, this is just an opportunity for a discussion. It's just an opportunity for a discussion. Think Charlemagne would be on the radio talking about, he probably didn't even know what it meant. And I think we should all be like, no, serious repercussions if you say it, if you say something close to it, or if you say something just that we find offensive. I don't like the idea of these people. I'm not, and this is going to sound like I'm all over the place. I'm not even necessarily saying she should have been fired. I don't really have a dog in the fight from the standpoint of it happened. But I'm not going to sit here and argue. Why don't do that to that lady? That wonderful white lady. Why fire the wonderful white lady? She didn't know what she was saying. She's just a nice little white lady who called black women grandmammies. And she didn't know, and she just trying to have fun and quote somebody who she thinking she sounding hip. She's a nice white lady. I'm not going to do that. I don't know if she should have been fired. She got fired. That's how the cookie crumble. But you got a lot of people, I bet some of these people making excuses for the nice white lady was 100% on Kyrie Irving. Just let him go. Fire him. How dare he encourage anti-Semitism? But they can find reasons why, this good white lady shouldn't have been fired. I don't know. Look, just, again, I don't know if she should have been fired. That ain't my fight. Let somebody else have that fight. Let her and her group have that fight. And that's what they're doing anyway. They want to take their country back. You know what I'm saying? And then the idea that it should be okay for them to have a playful way, because I think that was the word he used. It's a playful way to describe the N-word. I don't want you to have a playful way to describe the N-word. Janice says, of all people, why would we want to say the N-word? I'm not saying we should want to say it, but we can say it. We can say it. We can try to take that negative and turn it around. I'm not saying it's, going to be successful and all of that kind of stuff, but we can. But don't say nizzle. Don't say N-word with the A or the ER. And don't say no other fun ways that you can think of to say it. Just keep it out your mouth. And black people, stop defending white people when they say it and suffer some sort of consequences for it. Stop it. The slave master thought it was playful using slaves as foot warmers too. Tony says, what kind of playful way? Dude from Breakfast Club tripping. He ain't the one who said the playful way. That was the dude from the Young Turks. He said it was a playful way. And I mean, he even carried it further. He even said, like, hey, look, I'm paraphrasing y'all, just so y'all know. He said, look, we can't be cancel this and cancel that because Democrats want to get elected. This was for real. He said this. Democrats want to get elected. And if the greater society, the right, if they think, oh, we can't say anything if Democrats are in power because we're going to get canceled, then they won't vote for Democrats. If the people in the middle are looking at this and they're like, oh, I can't even say nizzle now. Oh, I can't vote for anyone on the left. That's what he said. That's what he said. So we can't, basically he said, look, on the left, stop holding people accountable for their terrible words and actions. Because if we hold people accountable, then the people who want to continue to do terrible things and say terrible things, they won't vote for you because they'll know that you're going to hold them accountable. That was some backwards thinking to me. And then he even made the concession that, well, yeah, they do a lot of canceling on the right too, but that's different. It's not different. It's the same. You have to set a standard. I know that plays right into Genesis' hands. How do you say you setting a standard, not saying the word, if you're saying the word? I'm setting a standard for them. I'm all right with this double standard. And did y'all see, hold on, I got like 3 more minutes. The movie, the Ruby Bridges movie, Disney did. There's a school district in, I just read the story. There's a school district, I want to say it's in Florida, but it might not be in Florida, who they have banned the movie because there was a parent who said they didn't want their child to see that movie. It's basically the same thing that we always say. What do we say? White people want to ban that history because they don't want their grandkids to know that they was throwing rocks at a 6-year-old. That's basically what she said. I don't want my child to know that white people did that. So I don't want my child exposed to that movie. And because she made that complaint, the district banned the movie. Well, it's under further review. But until it's reviewed, it's banned. And I'm like, what is going on? They walking into school, shooting people, saying nizzle and banning history. What is going on? Jenna says, I often wonder why other races don't feel the need to call or refer to themselves as the most negative name said about them. A lot of them do. A lot of them do. I mean, it's not going to be on the same level because there's almost no same level as the N-word. But redneck was not a pleasant term. It was never meant to be a pleasant term. But there are white people who proudly call themselves rednecks now. not just black people. And if you look around the world, you will see other examples where other people, other cultures have attempted to adopt something that was negative towards them and take it for themselves and turn it around and make it mean something else. It's not just black people who do it. A lot of people do it. Hillbillies. But I don't know the history of that, so I can't use that. But I know redneck was not meant to be an endearing term. So, I mean, just look at the history of all of that stuff. As a matter of fact, the guy on the Young Turks, who I guess at some point was a Muslim, and he explained how the way that the term Muslim came about was because he was something about Muhammad, and it was basically a slur that people were using, and that there were people who took that slur, some historical stuff, and that people took that slur and they kind of shortened it and made it Muslim. And now it's just widely accepted. But initially, it was a term, it's derived from a term that was meant to be derogatory. And Janice says it's not pervasive throughout their music and movies. It is. It is. There's a guy who made a whole career out of being a redneck. I don't remember his name. Jeff Foxworthy. A whole career out of calling himself a redneck. It's in movies. It's in TV shows. It's in music. Listen to some country music. They don't mind talking about being a redneck. It is pervasive in music, movies, and their culture. It's true. And if the Muslim thing is true, Muslims refer to themselves as Muslims. And some of them get mad if you mispronounce it. And I mean, I'm, taking his word for the history of the term. But if that's true, it's just more evidence that, yes, cultures will take something that was meant to be hurtful and derogatory, take it and flip it, and then it becomes, they own it now. And you can't even say it wrong. No, Janice, not just one person. I'm just saying he was like the most famous, but there are a whole lot of them who refer to themselves as rednecks. There's a whole redneck culture. I'm not just making that up. It exists. It exists. And look, Janice, I understand you got a problem with the N-word. I get it. I really do. And I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just saying that black people aren't the only people who have attempted this thing, attempted to take it, flip it, own it, and it's theirs now. Black people ain't the only culture to do that. It's happened probably more than you could imagine throughout history. But I understand, you know what I'm saying? If you lived during a time when it was much more pervasive in that very derogatory, hateful, even murderous sense, and then you hear you saying it, you're like, what are we coming to? So I understand it. I'm not, bashing you or anything like that. Still never heard I'm a redneck, boot, scooting, cracker in country music. You will hear in country music, I'm a redneck, so-and-so. You'll hear that a whole lot. Especially in certain genres, like this new country, you might not hear it as much. But in certain portions of country music, Yes. Thomas Rhett, Redneck Be Like. It's a country singer. Tim McGraw, very famous country singer. Redneck Girl. Brantley Gilbert has a song, Rolex on a Redneck. Alan Jackson, again, another very famous country singer, has a song, It's All Right to Be a Redneck. Tyler Farr, another country singer, song called Redneck Crazy. Another song, Rednecks, Red Letters, Red Dirt. Craig Morgan, Redneck Yacht Club. The Lax, Keep It Redneck. I'm sorry, there's a whole lot. It is very pervasive in their music and in their culture. They call each other that, the whole nine. These are actual songs. I just Googled country songs, country music featuring the word redneck. That's it. That's all I did. Whole list of stuff came up. So it's not just us. It's not just us. That's all I'm saying by making it. You might not like it. You might be right. But it's not just us. All right, y'all. I got to get ready to get out of here. That's my supplier calling me. And I'm going to miss this call, but hopefully he call back. It's been the afternoon experiment. My name is Emanuel Livingston. I'll try to be on time tomorrow. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Hope something amazing happens in your life today. Life changing. Till next time. I'm the King of Talk, and I'm out, y'all. Peace.